We're in the FootPro Shop today. We're going to work on a 5-year-old barrel horse that's had her shoes off all winter long. Feet are kind of dubbed off or nubbed off and everything, kind of wore down. We're going to evaluate her conformation a little bit, get an idea of the game plan and where we're going to go at with our trims and how we're going to shoe her up. First thing I like to do is I like to look at them. I'll look at them head on, start up at her chest and work my way down through her legs. As you can see, this mare's kind of base wide conformation. Has a medial toe flare. Outward rotation of everything, kind of high on the outside toes. And that's just the way she wants to wear. Outward rotation of her knees. Everything just kind of rotates outward, ties in with the width on her chest. The next move would be to look at her from the sides, evaluate her from start at her neck and work my way back. How does her neck tie into her chest? Is she got a big heavy neck? Does she got a slim neck that ties into her shoulder but nicer? This mare's a little heavy in the front end. Then I start working down through her shoulder, down through her leg. Take a look get down, look at her knees. Is she back in the knees? Is she over the knees? How does she tie in at her knees? Then I move down and look at her fetlocks. Then as I look at her fetlocks, I'm looking at her pastern. Then I'm looking at her hoof capsule. Is she short pastern? Does she have a long pastern? Does she have a drop to her fetlock when she picks her foot up? You can see how much drop she has to her fetlock there. That's telling me I can move her base of support back a little bit. Then we move up and we look at her back. Is she long back? Is she short back? How does her undercarriage tie in with it also? If she's really short underneath, she'll have a tendency to overreach. Then we'll move to her hip. Does she got much mass to her hip? Does she drop off much? Then I look and see how I start working my way down her legs. I want to look and see where her hocks are at. Is she straight in the hocks? Does her hock stick out behind her? This mare ties in, she's a little straight in the hock. You can see that she's got some capped hocks from kicking. Those are old, that's just old swelling. Then we move from her hocks down through her pastern, through her cannon bone and her fetlock into her pastern. Everything lines up pretty good. She's doesn't have a lot of foot to work with. Hoof and pastern axis is pretty comfortable back there where she's at right now. Then we'll look at her from the back. And I always like for them to have their head as straight as possible and kind of standing as square as possible, but in a relaxed state. And then what I'm doing is I look down, I want to see, do the point of my hips, are they both equal? Sometimes we'll have one higher than the other. We can look at the point of her shoulders and have one point of the shoulder up more than the other. Then we slowly work down and look down through the back of her hip here, down through her hock. How does it tie in with off the point of her hips? Where does her feet go? Are they in? Are they out? Is she base wide? Is she base narrow? Is she cow hocked? Then I like to look down through the center of the fetlock here and look to see what my hoof capsule looks like through the center of my fetlock. Come in at an angle like this. Whoa, sis. Whoa. Get more towards the. There you go, where you can see both sides. You can see a little bit back over this. There you go. Mary doesn't have a lot of foot, so she's tied in pretty decent. She's pretty much got herself trimmed up behind where she needs to, or where she wants to be. Okay. Then we'll move over and look at the other side too. Same thing. And as we're looking at their feet on her front end, does she have a high-low syndrome? Anything like that. Little things that I keep in mind as I'm working on her. So then we'll start trimming.